Hello, AOS fans.
Hello,
We've
everyone.
got another person here again tonight. Hello, Cal.
Woo!
A
Hello.
rose between two
Who,
thorns.
Yep.
I've been called worse. I'll be honest. So, and for those who are watching who don't know, Cal, obviously you're the communities manager? I can never remember the exact title.
Yeah, community manager at SteelSky Productions, working on Warhammer Underworlds
Nice.
Online.
It's a pretty cool job. I'm not going to lie. I would.
Yeah,
I'm
we
pretty
call it
jealous.
Yeah.
mine, which is irate teacher.
As it turns out, alcoholic teacher.
Alcoholic teacher. You know what? I've barely drunk any alcohol in since lockdown because it's just safer that way.
Why?
Really? Yeah, I went completely the opposite direction. I was like, well, it's 2 o'clock
Yeah, I'm not
somewhere.
driving anywhere,
Yeah,
so
you haven't got
It
kids,
just
though, have you? It's the thought of being woken up at 6 in the morning with a hangover. It still
kids will
does me
do
in.
that to you. Kids will definitely do that to you. Robin's flashing his mug off at the minute, and as am I.
Yep.
Yes, it's my mug from our good friends. I'm not going to say it out now. It's a family show.
They have a channel called Into the Glory Hole because there's lots of glory down there. So
Wow.
you've got to go digging for it,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
and that's the only
Exactly.
connotation that can be made from that. Moving on. So how have things been going in Underworld's online land, Cal? You guys been busy with thorns. The
Um,
thorns. I was
the
flabbergasted.
Thorns, that's right. Uh-huh. So, yeah, what was the last thing we did? We had, it was only 2 weeks ago, but 2 weeks right now feels like a lifetime. We had the Skulls event as
Yep.
well.
Oh yes.
So, I don't know, when was the last time we chatted? Was probably around release. So we have obviously done a few things since then where we've done another card release. We've done some quality of life changes and updates, and the main one being the Briar Queens coming in with the Skulls event. So the Skulls event was always something that we were like super excited about, and we're thinking about like what do we want to do to put to make this like event really great. And so we had done the special board. We had done the cards, backs, and everything like that. But we knew that we wanted to be adding in a warband, but we had always known from the start that we were going to be wanting to move into Night Vault kind of warbands sooner rather than later. And the Briar Queens was a warband that was ready. So we were like, well, let's put it in. There's, as we've always said with our game, that we're an alternative sort of release where we've got the freedoms to do what we want. Yes, some people might have expected, Garrick's Reavers, as to go along
Especially in a
with
core
the,
event.
I'm not
corner
bitter
event,
that you didn't bring out
But
Garrick's at all. I'm not bitter, but I do hold that against you deeply. So
look, some people really, really love it and want Garrick's Reavers. But we've always maintained it's like we're going to bring out stuff that we think is going to help improve the game and where things can fit well. So something like Briar Queens right now, being our first paid DLC, they're a warband that when they came out, they were obviously quite powerful, like at that
Yep.
time, and you could do a lot with them. But how we've released it, because they're our first magic users, and we don't have a lot of spells in like the universal cards or anything like that, we feel that right now it's kind of even. And so as we move into Night Vault a bit more down the line, we have more control over that balance, which is what we've always talked about, what we want to achieve. So I think it's gone particularly well. I've definitely played a lot of games where I'll go in with like Magor's Fiends or something like that, and I'm up against Briar Queens. I'm just like, oh, okay, well, board setup might not be great, and I just fail all the time. But I've been able to win a number of matches here and there, so I'm just like, okay, it feels balanced to me at least.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think that the Thorns, whilst they're a powerhouse right now with all the instant score objectives that you can get in Beastgrave, I think back in Shadespire times and in early Nightfall, they certainly weren't the most powerful warband around, and they certainly, I don't think, were overpowered back then, like you say, without the magic around now and that kind of thing. I do think that now is a good time to have them in the game. Whilst everybody obviously knows that Garrix is the best warband, I think they were a really good warband to pick, and they give a bit of variety as well, because you've got another 7-fighter warband with slightly weaker fighters that aren't like Stormcast or Magors or Oryx, that kind of thing. So they do give you that ability again to mix up the meta, as it were, and maybe play more objective chasing warbands rather than just run across the board and punch your opponent in the face.
Yeah, and as I said, we wanted to make the event special, and I'm not saying just release another warband, but we wanted to be releasing another warband, but have it special by making it something unexpected. And so by doing that, because a lot of our players are really in tune with the tabletop version, everything like that, so it's really hard to kind of give the unexpected to an audience that are expecting certain things, but still have it fun, like some people might get a big, cramp in the neck from the whiplash of an unexpected warband, but by making it something that's fun, where they turn back to it and go like, oh, all right, well, if I try it out, it's actually like fun in that alternative release style,
Yeah, I definitely like. I mean, when Thorns came out, like you say, it was definitely a surprise. My ghast has never been more flabbered. I was absolutely amazed that there was a Nightfall warband already. I'm like, wow. I mean, this hasn't even been out. The game hadn't been officially released more than 4 or 5 months, I think. I can't remember the exact release date, but yeah, it came out, and I was like, wow, there's a Nightfall warband already, and it's got a spellcaster in it as well. And whilst the lethal hexes aren't around, there's already that aspect there, that there might be interactions with lethal hexes sooner rather than later. And I was immediately sort of thinking, oh crap, Nightvault's here. I mean, what else could come out now? There's no, all of Nightvault could potentially be open for a use and abuse now.
Anything
exactly.
Anything happen. They could hit Grimwatch next.
Yeah, exactly. There was that sudden. Oh, it's not just Shadespire all of a sudden. So we obviously don't know what you've got planned, but there could be the option there that there might be Nightvault cards. There could be Nightvault objectives. There could be anything like that. But suddenly, everything's gloves are off almost, and it suddenly felt like, oh wow, there's something new that actually we weren't expecting, because everyone, I think, was thinking Axes or Reavers probably is going to be the next one. Which one's it going to be?
Yeah,
I agree. And I think it's really nice because you are making the game, because I know there is some flack about the fact that it's not the current meta, but it's almost like saying, well, actually, we're not playing catch up. We're building something else, so people can shut up about playing catch up, because you're creating your own game in the same universe, if you like a parallel universe, rather than trying to catch up with the existing game, which I think is really good for it.
Yeah, and as we would love to be as close as we can to the tabletop experience, and bring in Beastgrave rules and everything like that, because obviously the tabletop version has been out for so long that they've been able to refine that experience and make it the most enjoyable that it can be. But we want to be able to do that as well, but still claim some kind of ownership and independence of like, well, this is how we think it will be fun. So yeah, like obviously as we move more into Nightvault, we'll be doing some rule changes, and how that will look in the future will be interesting. But yeah, I mean, let's dive into as well, just like the rest of the Skulls event. How did you two enjoy the Skulls event? What was some highlights?
Well, like all these things, it was because it was a weekend, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So like all of these things, I don't know, when you've got kids, it's kind of like, oh, great, it's a weekend, it's an exciting event, and it's like, oh, finally on the Sunday night you might actually get a game to try it out. So it kind of rushed by me. I did play a couple of games during it, and I did unlock the cards, so that was exciting. And it was great to get hold of the new warband for it. But other than that, such is life. It didn't make a massive impression on me, I must confess.
I was
how about
definitely
you,
excited to go on and get the card backs. So I was like, as soon as I could, I can't remember, it might have been like Saturday morning when I have an hour to myself whilst the kids are entertaining themselves with their screen time and the wife is still snoring, and I sort of get up early, and I jumped online and got a few games in, got my card backs, which I was very happy about. And I'm looking forward to that kind of aspect of being able to, whilst I don't have the time to invest massively in getting all the nice little extras, I am a bit of a sucker for those kind of nice little optional extras that you can win for not doing a massive amount. It rewards.
But also a limited edition one is quite good, because even though I haven't had as much time to play the games I would like, it was like, well, this one's limited edition, I'm going to damn well make sure I get that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Whereas the other ones I can unlock at any time, so I haven't tried.
And I was definitely really, really excited to try out the Thorns, although I haven't played masses of the Thorns since then. I keep trying out an objective deck every now and then, much to my own pain. It's not quite where I need it to be right now, but I have won a few games with it, so...
I need to find some intermediate ground between the Aurochs and the Thorns, because I played the Thorns against you, didn't I, live, Pete? And it's like, oh my god, there's too many fighters. What do you do with them? It's not just like pick the board that gets them as close as possible to your opponent and just charge in and smash everything and hope for the best, which is my current Auroch method. So I need to in the middle to build me up to the Thorns, because they're rather more finesse than the Aurochs.
I've been playing a lot of Sepulchral Guard, and I've been trying with Skaven. I definitely play better with Sepulchral Guard than Skaven. They're both sort of offensive decks, but you have to be a bit more tactical with those two with offensive, because you can't afford to just throw a fighter in, because they'll die in a stiff breeze. They'll fall over. But then I've started playing a Magor deck last day or two, and it's such a breath of fresh air to be able to just, I'm going to charge this guy and smash someone in. I'm going to charge somebody else and smash someone in. And just having that sort of almost abandon of, I don't care, I'm going to throw them in, they're going to smash faces. Although I did play a game last night and I missed 11 out of 12 attacks, so that made me a little bit bitter.
Yeah. Look, we've all been there. It's all really, really harsh.
I did want to say quickly to anybody watching, obviously, if you've got any questions, shout them out, and Robin or I will try and read them off for Cal to maybe answer, depending on the question. Obviously, if it's what's the next warband or when are the eyes coming out, you're probably not going to get an answer to those ones. Cal's like, I don't know. I spend all my time drinking now.
The biggest question we all want to know the answer to is, when can we play with the Eyes of the Nine?
I'm sure that will be a given question straight away. And obviously things like, when's it going to be available on Mac? Obviously we've already touched on that one. We know it's not a while. Yeah. It's going to be a while yet for that kind of thing. But one thing I did want to ask. Sorry, go on after you.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say that, like any questions you have as well, you can always jump over to our Discord, where we've answered most of them, but, quite happy to answer them again, because...
As you get new people come in.
Some people might have questions asked in different ways as well that, we need a bit more context on. So quite happy to answer anything.
Okay, so answer the same question in different ways. When will we see a siege warband?
Which may have something to do with ocular sort of aspects. Oh, I could answer that one. Never. One thing I did want to ask, and I'm kind of new on this at the minute, is I stumbled across, and I'm showing how out of date I am, because this is like 2 years old now, but there's this GeForce Now thing, or GeForce something or other, which is like being able to play games online, and you're almost essentially playing in a browser, so you can play it on a PC game, but you can play it on a Mac or whatever, as long as it's got the bandwidth on your net connection. Have you guys considered anything like that, or is that something you're
that's something that we're actually in negotiations for at the moment. So we're just figuring out all the dots and the eyes and everything like that, but it's yeah, it's something that we've had a call out for a while now. Just because obviously it allows people to, stream and use things and have more options when it comes to how they play, where they play it. With that, though, we need to just be ensuring that the game will be able to run smoothly and everything as well. Like, it should be fine. But, yeah, we just need to make sure that it will work for everyone.
I'm sure there's probably a lot of people out there after that one, because a lot of people are like, oh, when's it going to come out on the Mac or this or that? Like, well, if you get it on something like that, then, I mean, I watched some videos of it, and people were playing, like, brand new release games on 5-year-old Macs, and it was, with a good net connection, it was like just playing the regular thing on a top-end PC almost. So, that kind of thing, very exciting to hear.
We have a couple of questions. I think I know the answer to one of them. One Underworlds related question is, will you ever introduce warbands that don't exist in the tabletop version?
No, not at this stage. As we are, trying to keep that tabletop experience. So can't really deviate too much, eh?
No, that's kind of reasonable.
Not going to see any Titan Warlord warbands yet.
This one's a Dreadnought.
And then Matt says, who do you main on Overwatch?
Yep. Yeah, I saw that question. So Matt, because it's the beanie, I'm usually playing Diva or May, or maybe Junkrat. So, and if I'm playing support, usually Brigida.
I have no idea what any of these names mean.
My experience of Overwatch is listening to my son just shout, "Oh, this Diva's so jarring! This Diva's so jarring!"
What does that even
really
mean?
Loud voice, sitting in my living room. It's just over and over again. He's 14, and obviously he hasn't been to school for 12 weeks, and that's basically all he wants to do. And he just shouts at the telly.
That doesn't even make sense to me. I don't even understand the words. That's how old I've got to that age now. I don't understand what the kids are saying.
I'll write some phrases down for you, Pete.
Look, it's just that Diva's a tank character, but she can get really up in your grill. Okay. So that's probably what that is. That he's probably trying to snipe or something.
Really taken this stuff about the riots in London to sort of really seriously, because he keeps shouting about Winston all the time, and obviously that's clearly can only be Winston Churchill.
We'll fight them on the servers.
That's definitely it.
So we did get a couple more questions during that rather brief random aside there. Do you have any plans on
random asides?
Any plans on releasing the game on Switch? Well, I don't presume that the GeForce Now thing works on the Switch. I don't know enough about it, but I assume not.
No. Yeah. So obviously, we would love to be on consoles in the future and everything like that. We've got to just really figure out what we can do and the legalities of it all, and time and resources as well. Because a lot of people have said when it comes to porting our game, because with the game's made in Unity, it's like, it should be as simple as, pressing another button.
Export to PS4 or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like, well, no. You've got a lot of background things you have to consider when it comes to graphics and,
the UI as well, I guess, the usability of it and stuff.
Performance, power, and everything as well. Because, I mean, something that we've recently spoke about was a lot of the bugs that we've been getting reports on have been due to performance issues, just because there's been some issues where if someone's PC, so someone's PC might be up to specs, but there was something with the game that would be causing it to try and use someone's internal, Intel GPU, like their graphics card, instead of using like their proper NVIDIA, card or whatever. And so it's like, okay, by doing that, that's putting extra strain on the computer, performance will drop, frame rates will drop. And so that means that when, certain things are trying to happen and connect, it's getting all this information at once, frames are dropped. And so then that might cause the game to crash or non-progs or anything like that. So we're currently working on things when it comes to optimization and everything like that, but that's where it's like something on console, you wouldn't be able to have anything like that because you'd be sending the game off to get checked by, PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo. And Nintendo is notorious for, their lock checks. That it's like, if you have any instances of frame droppings, if you have any instances of one or two bugs, like you're not getting through. Like it's there's a lot of work involved, and so it's like, cool, we need to figure out if and when we're doing consoles.
Brain droppings in the middle of that really confused me, but then I worked out what you said.
yeah. Essentially, like, if we want to be moving to console, we have to figure out who and when and how much time and effort we can actually dedicate to that. And when we do that as well, that will obviously take away from development time for new content and things like that as well. So it's got to be a long one.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
I mean, I think Rob and I discussed this on some of our streams before, where people are like, oh, we want it all, and we want it now, and we want it polished, and we want it finished. And it's like, this isn't, you guys aren't EA or whatever, there's like 10 of you or something. You're not a big company. So when it takes one person a day to figure out why one bug causes the system to crash, that's like 10% of your output for a day is just gone, just on a bug. And so things take time. People need to just chill, Winston. Chill a bit. It's fine. We'll get there. It's all good. Enjoy it. Enjoy the ride.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we did get asked another question. When you implement the Grimwatch, will their butts hang out as much as they do on the models?
I mean, obviously, like our 3D team always love working on extra booty.
Like the butt physics. What was it? Was that game? Was it from Nintendo or somewhere where they spent like a ridiculous amount of time on the chest physics for some volleyball game? It was like, yeah, you guys spent far too much time on this. There's far too much effort's gone into that.
Oh yeah, that was the Dead or Alive series.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how I know about that. That's obviously brother. So
someone else downloaded it on my machine and ran away or something.
Matt, I had no idea that Matt is just a gaming guru. He's just chipped in Dead or Alive over here as well. So he knows all. He knows his Underworlds. He knows his Game Tycoon he was talking about earlier, and he knows the Overwatch as well. So
now, Crit Def Matt did ask a question which we kind of already covered a bit, and he obviously hadn't joined us by that point. So, but just to reiterate, he asked, will the rules get in line with Beastgrave rules anytime soon? I think you already kind of touched on that. In that, over time, it's not going to be like next week. It's going to be Beastgrave ported, kind of thing. So
yeah, no, it will be progressive. It will be as we kind of move into Nightvault and everything like that. Will be obviously quite public when we want to do rule changes and everything as well, because when we do that will be a big change and it will affect everyone, so we need to make a big deal about a rule change. So that will be something where it will probably come up on that bulletin board when you log into the game. There might be an extra tutorial that people might need to play. All that kind of stuff has to be taken into consideration, because even though some people might be like, oh yeah, it's in rule change, we know how it goes. For those people who have come into our game without tabletop experience, this is a very big thing. This would be like if you're sitting down and playing a game of solitaire and then all of a sudden the rules have completely changed and no one explains it to you. So we need to make sure that we're explaining it.
Yeah. Do you also have one eye on the fact that we're not that far away from season 4 of the physical game, and Games Workshop could easily reverse a rules decision that they've made previously?
Yeah.
Obviously with Beastgrave they changed the guard rule. There's nothing to say that they won't change it again. And you must have an eye on that.
Yeah. So we obviously work closely with Games Workshop, where we're having discussions a lot. I'm not having the discussions because I would just be asking for way more models at my home. But
any spare Titans back there?
Yeah, right. The main conversations is being had. What is coming next and how that would affect us, and all the kind of stuff. So I know those conversations are being had, and
I'd love to be on one of those conversations.
Yeah,
be a fly on
right?
the wall.
So
well, we know we'd have to worry when. I was going to say we know we need to worry when Cal sort of just puts an announcement going, we're not going to bother with it anymore. We don't think it's got much more legs on it. Oh God, what are they doing? Season 4, not so much.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fine. We're feeling good right now. So as new stuff comes out, we'll be able to say, look at this. This is really cool, and this is how this affects us. Whether or not it does affect us, you know. So
yeah.
I mean, I'm to be honest, rules changes and stuff. I'm more excited to just see what new warbands are going to come out next, because after the Thorns land, I was just like, holy crap! Could be anyone. Could be Thundrix. Could be Altharis. Could be anybody. I know that one of our patrons, Matt, is especially looking forward to Stormsire. He's really ramped up for that one, or maybe Mollog. One of those two.
He really wants Mollog to come out as well, doesn't he? He loves Mollog.
Yeah, he does love his Mollogs. So
the thing is, if you bring out Stormsire now, they'll be mostly crap because there aren't any spells.
They haven't got other magic. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, they will be, because I remember playing with you when they brought out the Nightfall set, and you played Thorns and I played Stormsire for 2 or 3 games, and you just kept crushing me because the Curse Breakers out of the box weren't very good.
Yeah, I could just stand all the objectives.
Magic backup.
It's like there's only 3 of you. You can't kill us all, and we're just going to stand all the objectives and just harvest glory. So shall we jump into a game, Cal, and people can watch, laugh at my terrible tactics, and then ask any more questions as we roll along?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, do you have a preference of what you're going to be playing?
I can either be Magors, I can be Skellies, I can be Skaven, I can be a really terrible Thorns deck. It's up to you what you want to play, really.
Yeah. Well, why not? I'll play Thorns, and you can choose whoever you want from that.
Okay, I'm gonna. Someone did ask if I could play Magor, so I'm gonna bring the Magor deck out. We'll see how it does. It's obviously high control, lots of objective play.
Yeah, and what shall our code be?
AOS123. I'm just loading my game up now, so just taking a minute.
Great.
Well, let's see.
Yeah, field some more questions.
Okay, yeah. So, interesting question from Matt, which is, now with the Thorns out, will we start seeing more boards? Can you give us a vague timescale? Might see new boards.
So, boards will definitely be in the works. I think right now, the boards themselves will they're not going to come out with by themselves. It's not going to be like, and here's a boards update. The boards will probably come with either a warband or like another event or something along those lines.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to be like, and here's a boards update. It will be with something. Whether or not that is even maybe a card release or anything like that. But I think as we move more into Nightvault, it's when we can be like officially, hey, there is enough Nightvault content now, and even maybe it might go with those rule changes that it's like, you know, here's enough of this content now that we can say we're officially moving into Nightvault. Here are these boards, you know, if there are Nightvault boards, because obviously with that comes, you know, lethal hexes and everything like that as well.
Yeah.
I'm just going to jump across to the other view, so I'm going to make sure I don't cut anybody off mid-sentence here. So hopefully everyone can still hear you and you're not echoing all the rest of it. So crash on again. People at home, if everything's gone horrible, do shout in the channel. But I think I've cracked it this time. So right. So AOS 123.
Yep.
Let's
finding match.
Audio is good. Yeah, you'll need to bring out calculated risk after you brought out lethal hex boards.
Yeah.
Otherwise that card will be rubbish.
Yeah, we still have so many people, you know, wanting particular cards at particular times, and we're just like, well, we're working on it. Don't worry. We're not just trying to do cards willy-nilly. We want to make sure that everything's... I just love the fact that we
just don't know what might come out. I love that. Or when. That's almost as exciting. You get up one morning and then there'll be a load of new cards. That's quite exciting.
That's what I'm really looking forward to, is the fact that now the thorns are on the table. It could be anything. It could be any warband, could be any cards. It's all for grabs now. And I'm sitting there talking, and I should be picking a board. Sorry.
We've got another question which I don't really understand, but it's will we ever see mesh deformation for fighters when they take damage?
Mass
Chopping the
defecation.
limbs off a Skaven will be a joy unparalleled. I kind of feel like that of things that are a joy unparalleled, I'm not sure I would necessarily rate chopping off limbs of a Skaven as that, but yeah, it's an interesting question.
Probably not right now. Hey, you know, this is kind of how things are already going and how things are set up, and to change things like that at the moment would be a lot of work and effort.
That does sound like a very complex thing to achieve.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it'd be beautiful, but you know, you need like an army of developers working on that kind of stuff to get that kind of thing working.
Did you longboard, Cal?
I sure did.
He's longboarded me.
I have to say, I hate people like you.
Yeah, it makes
You
sense.
make me sick.
Yeah, it's just wrong. If I could change anything about Warhammer Underworlds, I'd change longboarding. I know that's just because I'm tactically weak, but that's what I would change.
Well, I'm interested to see he's put all the objectives on my side, so I'm scared now. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to expect. 4 upgrades. The one downfall of I shouldn't be telling you this. The one downfall of my deck, or this Magor's, is every time I seem to get just a handful of upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have gone for the 20-10 split on the upgrade ploys.
But they were so good. Oh, I'm gonna have to get rid of them all. This makes me sad.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the sort of hand I'd have kept and then regretted.
Well, that's I'm trying to get better at just getting rid of my cards, because I hold on to my upgrades, thinking I can't get rid of them. I need to keep them. They're integral to my plan, and then I realise that having ploys is also very integral, and without them I can't do anything.
Yeah, I've made that mistake. My new rule basically is if I have a gut feeling that I should get rid of them, I get rid of them.
Yeah, if you have any inclination at the start of, these cards are, oh god, then you just gotta dump them and run.
Because even if you were wrong, you'll never know, because you won't remember what you had two turns in. Whereas, you know, if it goes belly up first turn, you remember it and think, oh, I should have changed it, and regret it. I'm still regretting not throwing away my hand against Matt, and that was 2 weeks ago.
It's easier to get rid of it and not realise that you should have kept it than it is to keep it and realise you should have got rid of it. I think I think that tracks.
Matt says if you killed the harvester multiple times, there can be several size lying around. He thinks it's great, but is it a bug? And if it is, don't fix it.
No, that is not a bug. That is something that we have definitely kept in the game. So that's been something that's happened from the start. That as people die, they leave, or you know, as they're removed from the battlefield, they actually have their weapons left there. So
brilliant. It's particularly fun for the ones that come back, because you can then have multiple weapons lying around.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, early kill. Early kill. It's a good start for me.
It's a good start.
Yeah, I assume not all of the fighters drop weapons or bits and pieces. It's just some of them. But I do like the weapons just strewn around the floor. Oh dear.
Ooh.
Oh god. Oh dear. Gartok, you're in trouble.
Maybe. We just don't know.
All depends on what the dice do to you, really.
Interesting move.
I hate that spell. Bloody spell.
It's a good spell. Excuse me, I'm just going to go and turn the washing machine off. That's how glamorous it is.
That's how rock and roll
Sigmar, hang on a moment.
Right. Go on then. Do your worst.
Alright,
Do your
let's
worst.
see.
Anybody who's just tuned in, do feel free to shout any questions in the chat, and we'll see if Cal can answer them whilst he plays. Obviously, the more questions, the better, as it will distract him from working out what he's meant to be doing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're going for.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. just gonna pop. Yeah.
I'm back.
I know.
Who's winning?
That, I mean, obviously me. Something that we've spoken about before, in regards to the game and everything like that, is that we definitely have multiple warbands in the work at one time. So in the future, we will have more news about what warband will be next. We're probably going to be only doing for the logistics kind of side of everything. We're probably only going to be doing one warband release at a time, just because at the start we were quite ambitious, where we thought that we were going to be able to do multiple warbands all at once, but with that comes double the development time, and seeing that everyone is kind of keen on more content more often, we're going to try and keep it limited to one warband at a time. But that being said,
I think that makes sense, because I think it is nice to have, like you say, more content more often, or smaller drops more often is more desirable, because it keeps it interesting, and actually you can then really enjoy the new warband when it comes out and any new cards that come with it, rather than being overwhelmed. I've sometimes found with the physical game that you're enjoying the game and then they drop a load of new cards, and they normally drop 2 at once, and it kind of, I personally find it unsettling. And I don't like the sort of mass change of the game. Other people may completely disagree, but so I think it's quite nice to keep it a bit more piecemeal.
Yeah.
And Matt asks, what are you currently working on? Innocent looking face.
Nearly got me. Right now, you might have seen in our Discord that we're actually mainly working on performance things and making sure that the game is being able to run on some lower end computers and stuff like that. So we'll have more news on an update for later on this week. In the next couple of days, we're hoping to release an update, but that will be more quality of life things, just as we're getting the game into stable state. Ooh,
bitey.
Good, that's a good charge.
Good dog. I'm not scoring any of my objectives though. This is the problem I find. I never score any of my objectives. It's going well for me, but it's not. Yeah.
Let's see here, and then I will.
I have to say, I agree with you, Robin. I'm not a massive fan of when you get tons of cards all in one go. And when GW, just before Christmas, they released one warband first, and then they released another warband a little while later. I enjoyed that more, because you had a bit of time.
I did. Well, apparently that was a mistake.
Oh dear. Oh my word. Okay, I've got
all the crits.
There's crits everywhere. Everyone's critting themselves.
Wow. Yeah, apparently that was a mistake, or not a mistake, but it was unintentional. They had supply issues, so they released the 2 separately. But I think I enjoyed it more, because you can really focus, certainly as a content provider, you can really focus on the content and really look at the warband in detail.
Yeah,
whereas when it's 2, you've got double the cast to examine and comment on and talk about and play. I think it's easier to do it if there's less.
Yeah, definitely. Cursed you. I don't like that ever hanged.
Do you have any plans, Cal, to change the timer mechanism? I haven't actually encountered it myself, but I've heard quite a few reports of people who are letting the timer run down all the time, basically boring their opponent to death in order to grind out a win.
That's something that's definitely on our list when it comes to how we want the timer to work. But again, that's more of the the user experience and everything like that, where it's like,
for sure,
if we make the timers too short, people will say the time's too short. If we make it too long, if we add customization, then it's like, we'll have more divides between people who want to play long games and people who want to play short games, and that means that play pool will then become small. So we've got to really find that right balance of.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough nut to crack.
And that whatever you pick, no one's going to be not no one, but whatever you pick, someone's going to moan about it. I was reading a thing on Reddit the other day, and it had an image of from a chat somewhere where someone was literally complaining about getting free content for a game they bought a couple of years ago. The developers released some more content for it. This person was literally complaining that they had just been given this free content and that they didn't get it 3 years ago when the game came out. You're like, dude, you're getting given free stuff and you still complain somehow.
Yeah.
The dice are definitely on my side at the minute.
Yeah, right.
VJ's on. Morning, VJ.
Yeah, hi VJ. So Ishpecker said timer balancing issues. It's always a precision versus recall problem.
Yeah, it was one of those things that even during our closed betas where people were thinking that it was taking too long, and we were just like, okay, we shortened it, and then people were like, whoa, why is the game going so fast?
Make up your minds.
Yeah, but I think some of that as well comes down to communication as well. Like, that's something that we want to be looking into, where, whether it's emotes or something like that, where people can actually communicate, tell the other person to hurry up or something along those lines, Yeah,
that was my next question, actually. Were you going to have some sort of communication system? Because it's the one thing that the game kind of lacks now that the tabletop version has. Obviously, you can talk to your opponent. I'm not necessarily suggesting you can talk to them directly through this, but you can't at the moment. You can't, unless you've got Discord or something. You can't directly interact with them at all.
Yeah, no, we've had many discussion about that and how that would be implemented. So it's one of those things where it hasn't necessarily been our highest priority, because usually our highest priority is usually content. And so now we're getting to this stage that now the content's there. How can we address some of these other things that people are wanting to see, these quality of life improvements?
Bad dog.
No dice.
No dice anywhere. We used them all up last round.
Exactly. Have you taken no wounds so far, Pete?
I have been very, very lucky so far. Yeah, so far the dice have definitely been good to me. But unfortunately, I've still got no freaking cards.
Okay.
I mean, theoretically, I should be able to score one of these, although I thought I'd got rid of the other one from my deck, which doesn't help. Cool. Matt asked, do you plan on rotating cards out in the future? Steady on, Matt. They haven't finished releasing the first wave yet. When are you getting rid of them?
Yeah. Look, we're still just... Darn it, what do I want to do? I've got not good cards.
You've got that move through people thing, haven't you? Oh, I'm very jammy tonight.
Yeah, what are all these crits?
I just...
Pete's been saving them up for this game.
I find that I have one of two ways Magor's runs for me, and that's either absolutely freaking beautiful or just woefully terrible. And there doesn't seem to be an in-between for me right now. And I'm certainly not, giving away any tactics I might have coming up now, or how I might be changing those tactics in the near future.
Is it your intention to release every single card that's been released physically? I mean, obviously, you'll never catch up, but is it? Or will there be some cards you just think, oh, we're not going to release that one?
I think with that, it will depend on how we release things and everything like that. Because we might get to a point where we go like, well, we might be further into Nightvault or Beastgrave, and we might not have released certain Shadespire cards or Nightvault cards, and then it's like, well, okay, do we even bother going back? Let's say if they're restricted or forsaken cards, like if people, if we don't give them the opportunity to play, then it's like, well, will it matter? Will it not matter? I think that's something that we've just got to look at down the line. It depends on demand as well. At this stage, we know that there's going to be, as we move into Nightvault, we're probably not going to be doing all Shadespire cards, like straight away. Like we won't be doing all of Shadespire and then moving into Nightvault. It's like we might hold off on a couple of the Shadespire cards and maybe bring them back later. But it will all depend, really, on how we move forward.
Robin and I have definitely had the conversation. We're both on opposite sides of it. Where I'd like to see all the old banned cards released just to try them out, even if it wasn't in competitive, but even if it had to be friendly only or code-based matchups only or something like that. I'd like to try them. And Robin's of the opinion, I think, that you don't really see the point at all. Is that right, Robin?
That's absolutely right. Yeah, we don't disagree on much, but I think we disagree on that. To me, if they're broken cards, there's no point in bringing them out just to see that they were broken.
And I perfectly respect your right to be wrong in that.
Okay. I don't respect your opinion at all. So that's fine.
One thing that does confuse me is why do I get the ability to pick both my attacks when I can only use one as my reaction attack?
So we put that in as a means to have access to all.
That was my turn, wasn't it?
That was my turn, yeah. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. That was my turn. Yeah. So that was slightly different. Yeah, good point. I'm an idiot. But I can't use his Gorefist attack because that's a reaction only.
Right.
Yeah.
So I couldn't use that, I don't think. Well, but I did, didn't I? Should I have been able to use that?
You did use Gorefist, but you didn't want to.
Yeah.
Are you saying it shouldn't be usable? I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure. I didn't think that my Gorefist attack I should have been able to use because I thought that was a reaction after a failed attack on the character.
Yeah, so with those kind of reactions, we've left those in as a means to, because certain characters down the line will have certain reactions and stuff like that you can play at different times. So it's just like, cool, you can have access to your attacks.
Okay.
And whether or not, and like some people use them, some people won't, but yeah, it's just
that's right. I'm not going mad then.
No,
because I noticed I gave my champion the upgrade, which is if he gets killed, he can use this attack on the person who killed him, and I charged somebody when he had that equipped. He was like, "Do you want to use this attack?" And I was sitting thinking, "No, I can't. I'm not allowed to use that attack. He hasn't been killed. I don't understand." So, but that explains it then. What do I want to do? I guess I'll do... Didn't I go next? I've completely lost track of where I am. Yes, it's your power phase. Right, cool. I know what I'm doing.
You've still only taken 1 damage. You jammy git.
I have been insanely jammy this game.
Yeah.
It's been one of those games where the dice just do what you want. And you just can't do anything about it.
You're still only just winning, though.
I know.
Yeah, though I don't think I'll be getting much to help me right now.
What was that dice for?
Face of Death failed me.
Oh, I forgot about that. It was worth a shot. Just in case.
Yeah, because I knew you were coming in to get it, so it's just like.
I'm just gonna try something to stop him smashing me in the face. Yeah, I've got a load of objective cards, and none of them are really very good. I think I need to rethink my deck. Really,
I complain to the manufacturers of the game. Ask for better ones.
It's a disgrace.
Yeah.
I've got the problem that I got things like I had like Crushing Force earlier, which you've got to do twice as much damage. The trouble is with the spookies and these guys, it's like if I hit them, I probably kill them. So I can't do Crushing Force. I can't whittle them down to less wounds and then hit them. Oh, someone died.
Oh, yeah. Tables have turned.
Boo! Down with this sort of thing.
Who earns?
Right. I mean, I don't want to put that in now, but I might as well. Now, I was talking with one of our other patrons, Ed, the other day about Magor's upgrade thing, and we were saying, is it worth taking? And we sort of said, yeah, I might get rid of it, and I failed, and then I played a game straight afterwards, and I think Magor then ended up killing 3 people whilst he had it, so it ended up scoring me 3 extra glory. It's like, I'm glad I kept that card now.
I think it's worth having.
Let's see.
Especially when Tome of Offerings arrives.
Yeah, that could get juicy. Don't forget, everybody watching out there, if you do want to ask any questions, do shout them out, and we can see if Cal can answer them, or whether it's restricted on a need-to-know only basis. Obviously, anybody who's just joined us, you've missed, obviously, Cal dropping what the next 3 warbands are going to be, and they're amazing, but obviously we can't talk about them now.
You can't talk about them anymore.
Somebody called Tech Commander says he hopes to see more Skulls-like events, as these seem to buff the number of opponents to play against. The exclusives also offer a nice perk, like participating in a real-world Warhammer shop tournament.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, what am I doing is the question.
Cal's like, shut up, I'm playing. Shut up.
How's the weather down in Melbourne? Says VJ.
It's cold. It's cold.
It's a cold 10 degrees down there.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the early morning. Are you in a fridge? Effectively,
yes,
so with the floor.
That's where I live. What am I doing? Alright.
Indecision.
So which fighter, Cal, are you most looking forward to seeing represented on the table, or on the not tabletop, the digital tabletop?
Ooh.
Of all of the ones that aren't out yet, who are you most looking forward to seeing?
Oh, that's a. I always love more animals.
Okay.
You know, so any particular warband, it's particularly just any animals or anything that's like obscure. Like, so for example, something we've been talking about has been, you know, Eyes of 9 coming up. Whereas like, how will they look on the board? Because they're just so weird. They're just so weird and just unconventional. Yeah. And I know that like our animators have been working like really hard around the clock to like get you know, ghosts looking right, and then how will like obscure like little flame boys look, you know, like it's gonna be
I want to see the eyes of the 9. Definitely. Also Mad Maegrim. I want to see Mad Maegrim.
Yeah. Also, like, you know, Malog, like, on the board, like, how's that gonna look? Like,
that's true.
It's just...
Yeah, to be fair, nobody wants to see that, but yeah, it would look good.
No one wants to see your Molochs out. I am looking forward to seeing like what the horror will look like on the board. That's going to be quite funky. And
Snurk. I want to see Snurk actually. Now I've thought about it.
Oh, that could be painful though. He's going to have to be continually whirling the whole time, isn't he?
Snurk I want to see.
Yeah, there's so much out there that, you know, you see these little miniatures, you go like, oh, that's going to be cool. And whenever I see miniatures, I'm like, oh, that's going to be such, how dare you. That's going to be such an annoying thing to animate and make look cool in the game. So, how dare you twist that knife?
Sorry, Cal.
I've never seen anybody have so much luck in one game.
I've had the jabbiest luck.
And I play Pete regularly.
I never get this luck against Robin. I never get this against Robin.
This is unbelievable.
But of course, I'll play a game next, and it'll be like miss.
Yeah. Well, he is hoping.
VJ wants to know if you have any plans to attend any of the Australian game cons once they kick back off again, such as CanCon next year.
Like we would love to, but it's just we don't know. So, for example, recently, PAX Australia just announced that they're not going to be running this year, which was usually like it was the biggest gaming event in the southern hemisphere. And that's something that we usually attend every year. So that's kind of...
We shall go, Cal. Don't forget you go. Oh, yeah, really, Cal. Sorry. Sorry. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, and so that was like one of the things where we're like, okay, how and what and why, how are we going to move about this? And yeah, it's just too early to know, really, because a lot of the conventions... were planned for later on in the year. I was fortunate enough to actually go to PAX West, PAX East, yeah. So I went to Boston, just before everything kind of shut down, and that was a lot of fun to show off the game there and talk to people and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's still too early to know just where and how we're gonna be. So yeah.
I can't see anything like that happening over here for the foreseeable future for a long time, but fingers crossed. We've got a couple of shouts out for the Chaos Gargant mode. Are you likely to do that for the game? I know you talked about different modes of the game in past chats.
Yeah, so that's something else that has been on our list of things. Sorry, just watching my housemate just fumble over everything. Like nearly tripped and died. It was hilarious. So
extra points for head wounds.
Yeah, exactly. Oof, those rolls.
This dog sucks. My dog's been neutered. Someone fixed my dog.
Yeah. So, what was I saying? Yeah. So, modes and stuff are definitely things that we want to be looking into, all that kind of stuff. But it's just still that will take a lot of development time as well, and how we want to convey that will affect everything. Because there's so many different variants when it comes to testing and how that will work. And it's one of the main modes that people want as well is 2v2 or 1v1v1 as well.
V1,
so but that's got just so many variants that we just have to get right.
Yeah. Whoa.
Someone definitely nobbled my dog because he couldn't hit anything, but everybody else is turning into an assassin.
Yeah. It's going to be hard to come back from this. Yeah, I think you've got me.
Whoa. Oh, that's a nice little trick, sticking the objectives so you've only got one on your side.
Yeah. But not enough to make it, unfortunately.
It's close because I haven't scored anything.
Yeah.
I didn't score a
Very
thing.
close. Very close. If you hadn't taken out that fella at the end, we would have been. Because I always forget what the rules there when it comes to does it go objective held first or does it go number of fighters first?
I think if one's
first.
Is it?
Yeah.
Isn't it if one side's wiped out first?
Oh, is it?
I thought it was if one side was wiped out first, but then I guess that also sort of... Because if you've... Yeah, I thought it's if one side's wiped out first, because if one's...
Well, they're kind of the same, aren't they? Because if you if your opponent hasn't got any, they can't be on any objectives. Therefore, it doesn't matter whether you're on objectives or not.
That's what I mean. So
they're mutually exclusive.
It's if you're wiped out first, then if it's not wiped out, then it's if you're standing on the most objectives, and then after that, I'm not sure if there's another factor after that. I can't actually remember. It's never happened for us.
Annihilation is so rare in certainly in the physical game that I don't think I've ever had to worry about it.
Yeah. Are we wanting to do another match? Or
Do you want another scrap? We can have another scrap.
We can have another scrap. I'm gonna change up my warband.
Okay. Don't do what you did last time we did this and pick your challenging deck where you ended up with that absolute monstrously horrible deck that you couldn't do anything with.
Of course, yeah. I had completely forgotten about that one. I scrubbed it from my memory. No, this is. I've got an okay deck with this one. I think.
Okay.
I've been playing with this one a little bit more because I've usually gone between 1 or 2 warbands at one particular time. But yeah, we'll see how we go.
I'm lined up and ready, so I'm online and ready to roll.
Yep, same. Waiting on opponent connection.
Ishpek says, is there a wipeout rule? I thought it was superior fight count wins and ties. I thought it was if one side was wiped out, you automatically win. But this could be Beastgrave that I'm remembering. Oh, we're having a mirror match.
Yeah.
Oh god, I'm in so much trouble.
I mean...
Oh, you've got all the objectives. Oh god, I don't know what to do now. Paralysis.
Are there any plans to let players paint their own models, Cal? I think you said no in past chats, but we've been asked again.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not anytime soon. I mean, with all the customizable, fighters and everything like that, we've tried to make sure that everything is based in the lore of the game.
Yeah.
So people will find that it's actually a lot of Age of Sigmar kind of, or inspired, if you will. So there's a lot of like small hints here and there of like what kind of warbands we want to be working on and seeing in the future as well. So make sure to check out those skins. But yeah, there's lots of cool stuff there. We haven't been able to implement something that is being able to paint your own warband, because remember as well, that is its own thing. Like that is essentially its own, could be its own kind of game, right?
Right.
And we would never be able to implement something that would be satisfying to everyone.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Absolutely. I certainly find painting miniatures unsatisfying. So.
Okay, I'm going to keep all my cards.
Lots of calls for the gits here. VJ's very keen to see the gits.
I mean, the gits don't have many complex interactions, do they? I mean, you've got Sour Tongue, and he's going to be a tricky one to do the random movement sort of thing. But I guess to an extent, that's
you've got
about
the push mechanism of. Not the push, the move mechanism, and scurry.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the scurry mechanism is going to be pesky.
And the squeaks, and Drizgit, and you've got to be able to put things not on starting hexes too.
All right. There's loads of crap.
Apart from that,
not
very much.
But what have the Romans really ever done for us?
They did a lot more for us than they did for the Australians.
Yep. Oh god. Alright. Alright. I don't really know what I'm doing with this. I have not been graced with good hands, but we'll see.
I have tiny hands. Oh, we're talking about the game. Yeah, I don't know about mine, if I'm honest. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, we'll find out. Oh, crits everywhere. Lexurius, hello, Lexurius. He says hello. Do join in. If you've got any questions you want to ask Cal about Warhammer Underworlds, do shout them out. I have to say,
just start early.
Oh, you bastard!
Yeah.
That's just uncalled for.
Yep.
How dare you?
Well, because when do you play it?
Yeah, that's true.
The question is, do you play it before someone becomes inspired or after?
Yeah, that's true.
Before before seems a little bit harsh, but after also seems harsh, especially if they've just gotten it. So
I think it depends who you're playing, doesn't it? Like
Yeah.
if you're playing the Chosen Axes, you wait till after, because you wait for them to sweat until they've got managed to inspire somebody, then you play it on them, and then they flip the table.
And they swear mightily.
Tech Commander's off. He's loving the game. And he says, "Keep up the great work, SteelSky."
Thanks
you.
for joining us,
We've
Tech
been-
Commander.
Yeah, thanks for joining, and thanks for helping
Yeah.
support the game.
Yeah, there's been some negative people out there complaining about the game because it's early, it's still in the works in some ways and stuff like that, and some people just can't help but moan about anything, and that's why we can't have nice things. But I think the thing that they're missing is the fact that if you want things to get better, you've got to support them, and that sometimes just means waiting a little while and seeing what comes, and just
Yeah.
being there to play the game and enjoy what is there right now.
Yeah. We're, like, as we've said, we're a live operations game, meaning that every time that we put something new in, there's always the chance that it might screw up 10, 20 other things. And if we were to hold on to things until everything is to perfection, that would mean that we wouldn't get anything done or anything out there. So we've got to just take risks and kind of weigh up things of like, all right, well, if we put out stuff with these known issues now, will that then mean that people will still be able to enjoy the game? And can we get it quick enough fixed out? All that kind of stuff. That comes with that kind of live operations game.
Yep.
So, yeah.
We have a question on a totally different note from VJ, who wants to know, I think you have answered this question before, but I can't remember what the answer was. Do any of you or the other people at SteelSky play AOS? I feel like some do. And if
Some
so,
do.
what armies do they play?
I do not know off the top of my head, unfortunately, because believe it
make
or not,
it up.
it's been
I play Gobbledygooks. It's not a warband, shut up.
No, well, it's I don't really know what people are playing because I haven't seen people, in the office for a couple months
true.
now. It's weird to think about that like that, but yeah. Come on.
Because you were mentioning in your last update that you were thinking of working towards getting back together. How's that all going?
Yeah, we're going well. So we recently moved offices in our building as well, because we've had to, being game development, we've had to kind of restructure things and figure out how things are going to work moving forward. So yeah, hold on, I'm just trying to figure out what am I going to be doing. Here we go. Let's put wounds on Doggo. Yeah, so we've moved offices. Some people will be going back to the office sooner than others. I'm probably one of the last people who will be going back to the office just because I have the freedom of actually using my laptop, my work laptop, for streams and everything like that. Like, I don't necessarily have to be in the office to be working collaboratively, but like for the tech team and the art team, to be working collaboratively close is important, and so we've got to be figuring that out.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, surrounding the doggo.
VJ says 100% on supporting things. He barely plays Underworlds at all these days and play WO mainly just against bots, but he keeps supporting it as he's keen to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
The right answer is the right answer. I mean, I think I've probably played 10 times as much Underworld since this came out than I did ever before, because obviously before I only had Robin to play against, and now I've got anybody who's around online to play against. So for me, that was, It's just been
Yeah,
massively...
you've really got into it, haven't you? I just cannot work out how to free up time. You'd think it would be easy. It only takes half an hour to play a game, but it's surprisingly hard to actually free up time to play. And then I find when I do finally free up time, it's about midnight, and I'm like, I should probably just go to bed.
that is the one problem. Normally when I get on, it's about 10 p.m. at night or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Oh yeah.
What could be happening? What could be happening?
No idea.
I have got one thing up there.
It's fine.
Put one person in the wrong place.
We all make mistakes. My mistake was getting into game development.
And coming onto this rubbish channel, trying to play this game.
We have fun here. That's alright.
I mean, that's one thing that I enjoy, and it is just generally when we play games, we generally play for the fun of it. Robin and I, that's our thing.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to, in the middle of a work day, I'll jump on for a couple games here and there with people, just because it's like, well, I need to know how people are enjoying the game, and it's also, if people are reporting issues and such, it's like, well, I better do a test, better jump in and play some games.
Guess I gotta.
Guess I gotta. But yeah, I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions of, working in game development. It's like, oh, you play games all day. And it's like, well, no. Yes and no. It depends on, what you're working on. So, for example, if I, need to be verifying bugs or anything like that, well, yeah, I'll jump in and play. But otherwise, I'm writing up things. I'm trying to figure out what is to come next and all that kind of fun stuff. So it's game development.
I used to work in a bookshop, and the amount of people used to tell me, "Oh, that'd be great, just being able to read books all day." They're like, "Well, that's not really how it works."
No.
Well, like a friend of mine used to work for Games Workshop, and if you want to kill the hobby for yourself, then make it your job, he said.
Yep.
And it's because he would spend a lot of his time, his job would be, here's the new army that's coming out next week, you've got to paint 70 models by the weekend or something like that, and then he's got to, just put up with that noise and having to do all of that, which is just not fun.
And now he doesn't pay anything, does he?
No.
He just buys stuff and just doesn't paint it.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much in a nutshell.
So, yes, Ishpek says when he was doing game development, he lost the ability to enjoy any video games.
Yeah.
And then VJ asked, were there any variant ideas on how the ghost should move? As he would have thought, a ghostly float would have been more thematic. Ooh.
I presume that's for the push mechanic, the chain.
I guess so.
Yeah. Well, we wanted to make sure that the push mechanic is legible across all things. So making sure that push, if you push any of the fighters, they've got that kind of green,
that hexy sort of thing going on.
Yeah. So we've made sure that it has to stay universal, so then it's readable to everyone.
It's got to be pretty snappy as well, hasn't it? Because if they're pushing however many fighters they can push, the maximum number, if they were kind of ambled across as you did it, will take quite a long time.
Yeah, it's getting that balance again, isn't it, between playability and look, and you don't want to spend ages waiting for things to slowly drift this person across, and then I'm going to slowly drift that person across. Just move the models and get on with it. It's doing my head in.
Yeah.
VJ approves of your answer.
Good.
What do I do?
Thanks for the question.
Though Ishpek says when he worked in tabletop game development, it wasn't the same. He still loves RPGs and Underworlds. Oh, so who have you worked for, Ishpek? I'm intrigued. I'd love to work in tabletop game development, but I think those days are past.
Let's put on some demonic resilience.
You get back.
I nearly applied for jobs at Games Workshop when I was 15, 16, well, a bit older than that, I guess. But my mum told me it wasn't a proper job, so I never did. And I've missed out this life of a house husband. that showed her.
Yeah. Well, it's like, it's so interesting seeing how people get into jobs and positions. Like, there's that classic story of that kid who wrote a letter to Lego and, said, how do I work at Lego? And someone was just like, well, if you were to study this and that and maybe look into this and just, be passionate about Lego, maybe you can work here one day. And he essentially took that as like, these are steps how to do work at Lego. And then he ended up working at Lego. So
excellent.
You can live your dream. It's basically it.
You can, yeah. I just wish it wasn't so difficult all the time.
Trouble is, working some places like that. I mean, it's that problem that if you want to work somewhere like that, yeah, congratulations. So does about 1 million other people. So you gotta, you really gotta be. Oh, your dog's as bad as mine. You've really got
Bad doggo.
Bad dog. You've really got to be driven to want to be into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carl says the first job he did at school was Games Workshop, but it definitely didn't kill the hobby for him. In a store, Carl, or at head office?
Trying to work out what I want to do. I don't know what.
Working in Waterstones or working in the bookshop didn't put me off reading. It's a bit different.
Yeah, I still play lots of video games, but that's just kind of who I am. I'm just like, I'm actually more inclined for story-based games and single-player experiences. But games like this really help me appreciate and get more into like multiplayer games and figuring out strategies and everything like that, because I know for me, younger Callum would have been very hesitant towards a game like this where if it's competitive, I always shied away from competitive games because I'm like, well, I'm not good enough and it's too much information taken all at once. But now I'm like, oh, okay, if I see something new, I'm like, yeah, cool, try it out, why not? Because I now have the confidence moving forward of like, I want to see what strategies people are thinking or like playing and stuff like that. And it's not necessarily about winning, it's about learning and figuring out what's cool about the game,
Yeah. I get surprisingly stressed playing with other human beings.
Even me.
I'm not really sure why. I much prefer a single player experience. But I don't prefer it from a gameplay point of view, but just from a kind of the stress of it. I don't really know why it is. I always feel like I'm, if you perform badly, then it's embarrassing, and if you perform really well, then that's almost worse. That sometimes is a barrier to playing Underworlds online. I just think I can't face that, and streaming as well. I just think I can't face playing a real person and streaming it at the same time.
I do find streaming it helps me sometimes. I actually don't get as moody as I might do.
Yeah, you said that before.
Yeah, and so doing so helps me. It forces me to look on the brighter side of things, because you can't. No one wants to sit there and watch somebody stream. They're just sitting there getting mopey about it all the time.
Yeah,
so I have found that's helped.
I've been playing Gloomhaven because that's just me against the computer, and that's quite therapeutic.
There's a lot to be said for that. For playing against the computer, we haven't got quite so much.
Yeah, I don't particularly like playing against the bots, but I think that's because I know I can play against a human, and the human will be a better challenge. So it's a bit of an enigma there, but yeah.
I haven't actually dived back into Gloomhaven for a while, because I've played that in my own personal time as well, and it's like it's a fun game. I'm intrigued to see how they go when it comes to developing the campaign experience and everything as well.
Yeah, me too. They've got an update coming, which is sort of like it's not the campaign mode, but it's getting towards it, coming out at the end of June, I think. Yeah. Which I'm quite looking forward to seeing. But I mean, I've only played a handful of games. I've still probably played more Underworlds than I have Gloomhaven. I think I've played 10 Gloomhaven games.
Okay.
But, yeah.
This isn't going well for me.
And they're all in the dead of night. I do record those and put them online, but they're always me just really tired, burbling into the microphone, trying not to be too loud so I don't wake anybody up.
It's like late night Brooks. Now I'm going to do this. It's like some kind of ASMR thing.
Yeah, it's that good stuff.
That would make me Justin.
It would make Justin does have a very ASMR-y type voice when he streams. The Battlecast.
Yeah, the Battlecast. Yeah, we're big fans of Battlecast.
Almost as big fans as the Agents of Sigmar, I assume.
I mean,
not right now.
Where am I today? That's the question.
That's a good point. Well said.
I'm about to log off and go chat to Justin straight after this. Actually, no, but like
we laugh about the agents.
we appreciate anyone who wants to talk about our game and talks about it in like a way that's good. Like you guys, we really appreciate all the work that you've been doing and talking about the game, and same with Justin, everyone who's been doing these kind of videos where it's when we watch these videos, we know that it's from a place of actually enjoying the game, and if there's criticisms, then it's just like, well, these are just criticisms because they love the game. Where we've seen other videos where people just hate on the game because they, and they might be feeling it in a way that it's they might just be saying it looks like crap or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, that's not constructive criticism. Like it's like, why do you think like that? Where when we watch your videos or Justin's videos or anyone's videos where they actually say it's like, maybe this, less of that, we can go like, oh, okay, there's actual information that we can use. There's feedback that we can use, and we know that we can reach out to you guys to be like, okay, what did you actually mean? And work with our community because people are in the Discord as well, so we can actually have that direct line of like, hey, what did you mean when you sent that feedback? It's been good.
Yeah, there's a difference, isn't there? There's sort of criticizing from the perspective of wanting to make things better, and then there's also just hating on the game for no real reason other than the fact that you can. And they're two very different mindsets.
It's much easier to just hate on a game immediately and say, I don't like this because of whatever reason you might come up with. But it's much harder to actually say, well, I like this about the game, I'm not so fond of that, and I think if they did this, then it would be better, or something like that. It's harder to provide constructive criticism than it is to just say, game's stupid, don't like it.
Yeah.
So we've got a question which is off of Underworld really, but from Alex saying, hi all, how do I start painting an army? I feel like I don't have enough courage. Well,
maybe don't start with an army.
Start with a warband.
Start with a warband, yes. But I think the most important thing is actually to start with whatever you're going to start with.
God, yes.
Because I think that once you've got paint on the model, it already starts to look better. And then you automatically start to think, well, okay, that's okay. I can see I can do this bit a little bit better, and you can start to improve. But until you've got paint on the model, you can't do anything.
100%.
Like the longest journey, it starts with one step. That's what VJ says. Yeah, well, there's a couple of good ideas here. Dry brush, wash. I mean, I wouldn't even necessarily say a dry brush. A wash goes a long way. A base coat and then a wash of the appropriate colour, and your model looks a million times better. Oh, he's painted all his warbands already.
There you go. You've already
done
done it.
Further down the road than most of us.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh my
Only
god.
one crit.
It was enough.
Whoa.
You deserved that though. I mean, 5 double assists. That's mental.
Far out. Okay.
That was crazy.
Find some models that excite you. Ideally, a game that will feed them. Anonymous Jeff is in the house. He's been keeping very quiet.
He always comes in very quiet, does Anonymous Jeff. I'm in trouble.
Yeah, mini painting videos are good. There's a few good ones about painting things fast and to a good standard, aren't they? Like Midwinter Minis. They recently did a whole season or series of 3 of them Miniac and the other guy did a whole series on painting things quickly.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, they kind of did in the round. I wouldn't tell you how many views they got, Pete, because you'll have apoplexy. But they did it. Miniac and Goonhammer, is it? And Midwinter Minis did a whole 24-hour painting challenge.
Nice.
Where they all painted armies in 24 hours or something, and it was good. The bits of it I watched were good. Those guys are good. Duncan Rhodes is good.
I think I mean I'm not one of nature's painters. But then contrast paints have been brilliant for people like me and anybody out there who's not 100% sure about what they want to do with painting. Is contrast paints I think can really help in that kind
actually
of
for an
situation.
army, because if you've got a lot to do at once, it's quick and easy and they look fine from a distance.
Yeah. Ouch.
Miniac went on for like 38 hours in the end. Yeah, I can't imagine what that must be like.
Holy crap.
Well, I can say is most of these people can't have children, that's all I'm going to say. By the time my kids have left home, I won't be able to see my miniatures to paint them though. So
You'll just be, spectacles on, just really
Squinting.
close, just doing these ones.
Exactly.
Oof.
Ouchie. I'm in a lot of trouble. This is fairly close.
It is close.
Yeah, very close. I haven't been watching the game at all, I have to say.
Good. Glad, didn't want you to. Hey, I defended one.
It's very confusing because you swap warbands, and I can't. Every time I look at it, I can't remember who's playing who.
No, uninspired.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Right, what do I want to do now? Right, I don't know anymore. Right, I might as well draw a card. I'm running out of options. That's no good to me. I'll stick that on the queen. There we go. Come at me, bro.
Alright.
It's also very confusing, Pete, because you play with corn cards, but you're not playing corn anymore. It's just,
Yeah, we
I can't
need-
Run away!
Oh, you've got. Get everybody in the other person's half, haven't you? I can't remember what it's called. I can never remember that card.
Go forth and multiply.
Yeah, what's the name of the
Oh,
card?
I think you've won it again.
Conquest, that's the card.
Yeah.
Oh, the key what
Yeah.
won it. It was the key what won
I
it.
was waiting for you to actually win that roll-off, so then I would get to use my turn.
Yeah.
And then I would be able to get Ploy Master. But no.
I was
apparently
really
not.
lucky at the end because your last attack against the Queen allowed me to use Maddening Cackle, which helped me score Ploy Master, so that was really close.
There we go.
Right, I'm going to jump back to our
Fantastic.
chatting view. And
Yep.
hopefully no echoiness. Everyone can tell me if there's any echoes. There we go. Hopefully we're back. Hello everybody. I bet you missed seeing our beautiful faces whilst we were talking just now. Yeah, so sorry about that, Cal.
Oh, look, it's fine. I don't think I've won on a stream at least for a couple of months now, so this is...
It's all part of that user experience, isn't it? You want all your users to have the best time
Yep.
possible.
Yep.
So you narrowly lose every game.
Yeah.
I mean,
oof.
those
It's,
came down to a few dice rolls, didn't they? They were pretty close. I've not had games that close in a
Yeah.
while.
It's all
Yeah, no,
all
I've
the plan.
definitely been playing like a lot of close games. But yeah, for the last, like, when we did our Skulls stream, for example, I was up against people in the office, and usually I do well against people in the office, but not that day. It was really, really disheartening. But it's fine. It's all a learning experience.
It's fine. I'm not crying. I've just got something in my eye.
Yeah.
I remember it was near the beginning of last year. Robin and I were playing games, and I worked out that I lost 16 games in a row to him. And that's a real easy way to really destroy any motivation you've got. And then you get to the next week, you're like, I've got to go back again. I've got to try and win a game. It's 16 losses in a row, and I'm not sure what the hell I'm going to do with this. And then you have to get in front of the camera, and you're like, "Hi, we're going to play a game, and I'm really excited." Whereas what you're thinking is, if I lose this game, I'm quitting.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, then it's normally down to your dice roll. So you're playing this game, you know that he hasn't won a game for ages, and you just watch as he like charges in with 5 dice and rolls five assists, and you just think, "Oh no."
Yeah, just like mine
There
before,
needs to be,
where it was just like,
yeah, you're like charge miss, charge miss, charge miss. There needs to be like a a version of the game where you can click a button and it's just saying to your opponent, "Go on, roll it again. Just roll it again. It's fine." We've done that before during our games sometimes where it's got so bad, it gets to the point where someone rolls the dice and it's horrible, and we just go, "Just roll it again. Just do it again. We won't show the other roll on camera. It's fine."
The lovely house rules,
Exactly.
if you will, where you're just like, like when you want to see something work, and you just go like, "Well, just." But at that stage, how many rolls do you let re-roll? You know, because if they fail their rolls twice or 3 times, I'm
maybe we need to we need to call it here. It's just not happening. We've done that in a few games where it's like, "Oh, I missed that roll. If I'd have made that roll, then I would have played this card and that card and done this, this and this," and the other person would be like, "You got to roll it again. I want to see that happen, just to watch that happen in the game." And we've definitely done that before. People.
We have done that.
People.
Kind of every game though, or a lot of games are like that though. If only that roll had come off, then this would have happened. I don't know. Certainly in Underworlds Online, I think all of my games I played recently, if I hadn't made a roll or had made a roll, the result would be completely different. And some of our games, Pete and I have been playing some of the less fancied war bands on Tabletop Simulator, and I think the last 4 or 5 games have literally come down to 1 or 2 crucial dice rolls, which were failed or successful. Like we had one with has that gone out yet, Pete? The scale one hasn't gone out to YouTube yet. So I won't say what it is, but we had another one with Godsworn Hunt, which I think has gone out, where I charged in with 5, 6, 7 dice and didn't hit.
Yeah.
And that was the difference between failure and success.
So I think we've probably got maybe 5 or so minutes left before we probably need to call it a night. So if anybody does have any last minute questions they want to ask Cal, please do shout them out now whilst we wrap things up.
And just to confirm, Cal, did you say there will be some sort of interesting announcement later this week?
So this week, what we're working on is we've got a patch going out at some point, which is going to just be another hotfix and hopefully help with some of those performance issues people have been having, and fixing general cards, everything like that. We are hoping that by the end of this week, or maybe maybe start of next week, but hopefully by the end of this week, we're going to be able to talk more about a particular timeline of, what we're wanting to be putting out over the next few months. So think of it like a wish list timeline, if you will, where we will have things that it's like, these are the things we're working on, and this is the time frame that we're wanting to put them out. When they will actually come out is another thing, because we're being realistic that with everything that's happening in the world at the moment, it's really hard to actually set times and set dates. That's something that we're trying to lean back from. So we're wanting to, but we're still wanting to give something. So we want to be able to say, look, this is what we're working on. We want all this to be coming soon in the next couple of months. We can't give exact dates as, life is how it is at the moment.
Yeah, we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Where in the past we would have...
I do know that our creative director, Andrew Marlowe, does want a new set of eyes for Christmas. I'm just saying that. Just going to put that out.
If we can get it out for Christmas, we'll let you know. But yeah.
We'll have to get Andrew on. We'll have to get Andrew on a live chat with you, Cal, if when the eyes come out.
We'll have to mute his microphone because it'll just be him screaming. Oh my god!
Yeah. So yeah, that's probably the main things. Otherwise, I'll do my traditional plugs of, check out the game if you haven't already. We're obviously on Steam. We are now also on the Fanatical store on online as well, and that's currently going for 20% off.
Fanatical.
And then we've got, we obviously have the Briar Queens came out as our first paid DLC. So if you haven't checked that out as well. We have cool announcements coming out with what we want to be working on, what's going to be coming out. Please don't join the Discord as well. There you can find people who are playing and share cool stuff and everything like that, for all our socials, for when those updates go live as well. And yeah, those are all the main bits from me, but I'm happy to answer any other questions that people might have.
I think so I was going to ask a question just around the release schedule that you're thinking of coming out. Will it mention like we're hoping to bring out a new warband in June, or we're hoping to do new cards in July, that kind of level of obviously you won't say which warbands or what cards, but it'll be more like in June we're hoping to have a warband, in July we're hoping to do this, and in August we're hoping to do that. And obviously it all depends on I've just realised we're even in June, so I can use that as an example. Christ, I'm losing track of time badly, but that kind of level.
Yeah, so because of recent things that I can't really disclose of, how the timeline is going, because the timeline has definitely changed from our first expectations, and so we're trying to be more realistic. So I'm not sure when it comes to specific dates and things like that, and like whether or not we can actually will be doing months, but we might be. It's still up to debate how we want to present certain information. There's still conversations being had within the team of what can be released when, and what priorities is above others. So that is how we present that information. I can't really talk about right now because it's still being discussed. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't really give a proper answer with that.
That's
but
kind of
we
the
are.
level I would expect.
Yeah, it's if you had have asked me a question like that, maybe 6 months ago, it would have been like, yeah, this is what we're doing, and this is the months that we when we put it out. Like when we did our initial timeline for the for the beta kind of thing, and early access, the lead up to early access, it was quite clear because we were meeting milestones and everything like that. But now that even though we're still able to be working quite efficiently, it's more of the human aspect of we've got people who are experiencing life events in different ways, and some people have make sure to take time off, look after themselves, all that kind of stuff. So we've always been adamant that it's humans first and game after. So so we're making sure that we're not trying to set especially at the moment. So we're trying really hard not to put expectations too high for everyone, and so that is both externally for like the audience, right, but also internally going like we can't ask people to demand too much from themselves. So, and that will affect the development of the game, and we're quite transparent with that. So, also, for example, when I take time off, I usually say, "Hey guys, I'm taking time off," and I'll say that in the Discord so then people know.
I think anybody who's worked in any kind of office-based project environment knows that those initial estimates mean almost nothing quite a lot of the time. The minute any kind of planning happens, you might as well just screw up and throw it in the bin. And I remember reading a quote online which said, when you read about all these conspiracy theorists who go on about all these things that like the world is flat and all this kind of stuff, like these people have never worked in a project management environment, because their enthusiasm and their belief that you could organise something like that is just laughable when you can barely even get like 5 people to work on a project and hit a deadline.
To be honest, I don't even get my lunchtime right every day.
Yeah.
I think
and that's just me. And that's not actually. I organise lunch for a very fussy group of individuals.
That's your problem. You need to thrash your kids more.
It never arrives on time.
So I think anybody who sees any kind of timeline that you put out and thinks, well, that's it, that's set in stone, and then is shocked, they shouldn't be shocked basically when those timelines move, especially at the minute in the middle of a global pandemic. That kind of stuff's going to happen, and like you say, it's just a game at the end of the day. And whilst we're all really excited to see what comes out, we're just enjoying the ride as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly. And
go on.
Yeah, sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, we want everybody at SteelSky to be enjoying their work and making the best game that they can, but only in the time frame that they can deliver it in. Because we're loving the game. We're loving the game, but I hate to think anybody was suffering as a result of building it.
No one. No, I can adamantly say that no one's suffering. It's more
only the people playtesting the Eyes of the Nine warband.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, it's more the fact that it's just like we're doing our best. I have every confidence in the team to make a great experience, as evident from what we've seen being produced. Like take us back to when Skaven were released. That was a time where it was like cards got brought out, a warband got brought out, and it's new and exciting, and we were able to do some cool stuff around that. And then the Skulls event, we were kind of like, oh, when should we announce the Briar Queens? This was like something that was in development for a while, where it's like, when do we announce Briar Queens? Well, we have to announce them when they're ready. Well, they're actually going to be ready around Skulls, but the thing is, we can't actually divulge when Skulls is happening. So it's like, well, do we say Briar Queen's are coming next? But then it's like, well, that opens up more questions about when Magic is going to be present and when that's coming out. And it's just like, do we put that all together in one, or should we keep it separate and have these discussions? And it's just like, well, it's going to be a lot either way. And so we thought it was best to put it with the Skulls event to make Skulls event super cool, and answer any questions that come out of that. But yeah, we made sure that it was a cool experience, and we hope that people enjoyed the Skulls event, and with that, the Briar Queens.
Definitely.
And we hope that we can do more cool stuff like that in the future as well.
And just on that one quickly before we call it a night, Anonymous Jeff did comment on it earlier, saying that he's been a bit out of it at the moment, and he was very interested to see that a Nightfall band had come out. As I think we all were. We're all very excited by that one. And he's saying, is the balance holding up in Underworlds Online at the minute? And I don't know if you have any particular stats on whether you can see what kind of warbands are played more, but from my general experience, I've played a plethora of warbands with a plethora of warbands, and I've found that there's no dead cert right now.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone really has found like a set warband that's too powerful. At the end of the day, it still comes down to the rolls and the dice, and we all know that those are a fickle thing. So yeah, I know whenever I've played or seen people playing or talk to people, people are trying out new things. People still want to unlock the different customization options as well, and you only do that by playing.
Yeah.
So I know people are still playing Sepulchral Guard, even though people were saying very vocally that the Sepulchral Guard will be dead now that the Briar Queens are out. And it's like, well, no, there's still a lot of people playing Sepulchral Guard wanting to get those skins and try out objective.
Yeah, and I think actually the Guard are in a better place than they were when the Briar Queen came out.
Yeah.
In the physical game, I think the Guard are in quite a nice place at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm definitely enjoying my Guard. They're still my top three picks, the Sepulchral Guard.
Yeah, and we've got all the keys obviously in there, so that helps with objectives. And we did one release that was kind of our aggressive card release, where that really favored Magor's Fiends and things like that, and that was to kind of combat any kind of coward cast play. But we're seeing a good mix. I mean, I think probably the lowest played would be Stormcast Eternals, both of those warbands. But then, I'll be pleasantly surprised by jumping into a match, and then all of a sudden there's fast riders on the other side of the board, and I get taken out. Like, it's you just never know. It's you never know who you're going to meet in the streets of Shadespire.
That's true. I'd agree. I think I've definitely seen the Stormcast warbands a lot less than I have any of the others, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I'm enjoying the game regardless. So
yeah,
awesome.
Steelhearts are just a bit vanilla, aren't they? I mean, Fast Riders have got their thing, but Steelhearts are just. I think it's a shame because I love Angarad. Angarad's one of my favourite fighters.
Angry Angarad.
But as a unit, they're just a bit bland when you could play Screaming Aurochs or Bloodthirsty Khorne or Rats that chitter.
Yeah, exactly.
But then some people like playing the jack of all trades sort of warbands, and he's definitely got some tricks up his sleeve. So maybe I'll have to try Severin soon. Try him back out and give him a try.
You just got to try everything, Pete.
I will.
I noticed you're up to level 9.
I am crashing it. Yeah. Or down to level 9, whichever way it is. Can't remember.
Yeah. I had a very confusing conversation with my son the other day about that, because whatever he plays, levels go upwards.
Yeah.
And so he thought I was doing reasonably well because I was at level 24.
It's different for different games.
Yeah,
you can just say that it's the opposite of golf for you, but for everyone else, it is golf, where you want a lesser number.
I like that.
Yeah.
So,
a lot better than golf.
I think it's probably time to call it there, as we're straying into something that could dangerously be sports related, and I'm not a fan of sport. So thank you, Cal, for coming online and chatting to us this evening. It's been great.
Absolutely, thank you for having me.
I hope everybody has enjoyed tuning in and watching us tonight, and hopefully you'll be bringing out some more news soon for us all to drool over.
Yeah, so make sure to keep an eye out on Discord and Steam and all our socials for when stuff goes live.
Yes. So we'll see you all soon in the Beast Grave, boys and girls. Bye.
Cheers, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.